Is it working? Yep. Okay. So, as you all know, I participated in the YAV program, which is also known as the Young Adult Volunteer Program, through the Presbyterian Church. I thought I would start by telling you a little bit about what the program is, so you have a better understanding of why I did what I did. So the program is for 19 to 30-year-old adults, and it involves YAVs are placed at churches and different community organizations all throughout the world, and there they grow and develop their faith and community relationships and just help those in need in any way that they can. So here, nope, hang on. Here are some of the current sites that the PCUSA has. For example, in Nashville, the YAVs work on social justice and systematic change. In Tucson, they build wells and work on border policies. In Kenya, they work with the East African Presbyterian Church. And I went to Northern Ireland, obviously. I'll get more on that later.
How long has this program been going on? Has there been YAVs for a long, long time?
Yeah, the YAV program in Northern Ireland, it goes back to the 1990s. But I think it might be 20 years old, maybe. So.
Who can find better
There's me.
first?
Okay, so this is a photograph of me at orientation. This is all of the 2012-2013 YAVs that went all over the world, including the US. And as you can see, I'm in the back. So I would encourage you to think about the young adults in your life while I go through this presentation and see if you know anyone who this might be good for. You know. So to start, I went to Belfast, which is a part of the United Kingdom and Great Britain in Northern Ireland. That's what the UK stands for. So it gives you a little idea of what that looks like. So basically, Great Britain is Scotland, England, and Wales, and the United Kingdom is Northern Ireland, Scotland, England, and Wales. Ireland is actually made up of two different countries, Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. The capital of Northern Ireland is Belfast, and Dublin is the capital of the Republic. So I was placed in Belfast, which some of you may or may not know has history in violence. There are two different opposing sides. There are the Unionists and the Nationalists, and I'll get to that on the next slide. But this division has caused a lot of tensions, and things you might have heard of would be the Troubles or Bloody Sunday or Bloody Friday. That all happened in Northern Ireland. So that's why we have a site there. Although the violence has subsided nowadays, but there's still not peace. You know, there's no open fighting anymore, but amongst the people, you can still see the tension, and there's still that divide. And to kind of prove that, this is a map of the city of Belfast, and the areas that are in like that orangey color are 80% Protestant areas, and the areas in green are 80% Catholic neighborhoods. So there's some places where they're right up against each other, and in some of those places, there are these big, long peace walls to keep the peace. Back in the time of the Troubles, people would go over to the opposing side's neighborhood and throw bombs and, you know, all kinds of things. So I actually worked in Sandy Row, which I don't know if you can, that's Sandy Row, which was a predominantly loyalist area. And as you can see, Loyalists is a subgroup of the Unionists. And the Unionists are British, and if you ask someone from Northern Ireland, their nationality, depending on what part of the city you're in, you will get a different answer. Someone might tell you they're Irish, and someone else might tell you they're British. Technically, they are British because they are part of the UK, but they can get a passport as Irish or British, and many people still see themselves as one or the other, and they will definitely tell you what they are. So that's one of the main things you need to know about the division between the two. These are some pictures of some of the peace walls that are on like peace lines. And on one side, you'll have a predominantly Protestant neighborhood, and directly on the other side of the wall will be a Catholic neighborhood. Now, I say Catholic and Protestant because that's how they refer to themselves, but most of them aren't actively practicing in either, and it's not related to religion whatsoever. It's more Catholics are Irish and Protestants are British. So I was working in predominantly British Loyalist communities. So.
Would you have been welcome in the Catholic part of things?
As an American, yes, I would be. They are very welcoming to outsiders, but not to each other. So, yeah. So another fun fact about Northern Ireland is that they have paramilitaries instead of gangs. And I don't know what all you know about them, but a paramilitary is an illegal armed group with military status, I guess you could say. But they play a key role in the violence over there. Some of the groups you may have heard of would be the UDA, the UVA, the IRA, and the Provisional IRA. This photograph right here was taken not too far from my house, actually. It's a mural welcoming you to East Belfast. It is not very comforting. And you would find murals like this all over Belfast, It's very intimidating, and it's meant to be. Outsiders are not welcome. And in some places, the murals even have cameras on them so that you won't paint over them or deface them in any way, and those cameras are run by the paramilitaries. This mural down here is near where I worked. It no longer looks like that. It has been changed to this one right here. But for many years, it said, you are now entering Loyalist Sandy Row. And it was very well known. They like to, you know what neighborhood you're in. And so there was a big deal about getting it changed to King Billy on the Wall, who they pride ever so much because I don't know how much you know about English history, but King William III fought in the battle he's the Prince of Orange, and he fought in the battle in July of 1690. And on the 12th of July, they won that battle, and the British won over Ireland. And so every year on the 12th of July, the Loyalists and the Unionists like to celebrate like this. So you would see a lot of protesting and rioting on the 12th. And I don't know if you can tell from this picture, but these are all like the pallets you would find at like Home Depot or Lowe's. And in the middle, they have tires and furniture and everything stuffed up. And they build these 5 stories high or more. And there are hundreds of these all over the city during that week. And then on the 12th, at midnight, they light them, and that's what that is. So it's pretty intense. But there are some good things about the Northern Ireland culture as well. On the left, I have some of the phrases that they would say. I found that because there was that blend of the Irish and the British in the same area, you kind of got the best of both, you know, when it came to language and culture. So I definitely wanted to emphasize that. So what's the crack? Crack is like gossip or talk, or so you'd say like, hey, what's the crack? Or like, what's up, kind of thing. Or they're good crack, you know, so they're good mates, someone fun to talk to. Dead on. Dead on is just like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like when you're like saying, good job or something, you know. Gurnin or whingin is whining or complaining. Brill is short for brilliant, which is like awesome. You know, they use that all the time. Here's me. Here's me is like when you're talking about yourself to someone else, like you said. Here's me, what? You say like, what's going on or something, whatever, when you're relaying a conversation that was already had. I can't be bothered. That was probably one of my favorite phrases while I was over there because everyone would say it for any little thing. It was like, oh, I couldn't be bothered. But it wasn't like you didn't care. It's hard to explain. But basically, it was like, you know, sometimes the world is tough and things are tough, and I just couldn't get to that one thing today, and it's not the end of the world. It was just kind of that release of like, oh, did you do whatever? Oh, no, I couldn't be bothered. And they're like, I totally understand, you know? So that was really cool. I is just like, yes. So like, okay, you know? You're doing my head in is, you're driving me crazy. Your man is like when you say, oh, your man, Bob, or you're like trying to recall someone's name, or like if you're talking about a celebrity. Crisps are potato chips. Fish and chips are fish and French fries. Bangers and mash, obviously you guys had tonight. An Ulster fry. If any of you have ever been to like England or Great Britain or the UK, you might have had an full English breakfast or an Irish breakfast. Well, an Ulster fry is very similar, but it's specific to Ulster. Each one has a little bit different components. But basically, in an Ulster fry, there's potato bread, soda bread, bacon, fried egg, sausage, tomato, and mushrooms. So it's quite a full breakfast, and you can pretty much order it anywhere you go. Biscuits are cookies, buns are cupcakes, and tray bakes are kind of anything else that comes out in a tray, like brownies or Rice Krispie treats or any kind of those baking things. Jumper is a sweater, and trousers are pants or jeans. This picture was the Ulster rugby match that I got to go to. This one is the Belfast Giants hockey game. And of course, I had to put a picture of a sheep in there, you know. And that is my favorite dessert while I was over there, which is pavlova. It's like this custard meringue thing. It's really good with fruit on top. And of course, you can't go anywhere in Northern Ireland without being offered tea or coffee at least every 2 hours. And with that comes biscuits and buns and sweeties and tray bakes. The list goes on and on. So they fed you really well over there. Oh, and my favorite saying is flip sake. Flip sake is kind of like, oh my goodness, or like, oh my gosh, whatever, you know, where you're like, ah, flip sake. I don't know how to describe it, but. So these are the YAVs that I went with. We have Grace and TJ and Anna, David, Trisha, me, Courtney, and Catherine. Don't worry, there's not going to be a quiz. But this was our last day in the States before we went over. So now you're probably wondering, since I've told you all about the culture stuff, like why I went. Well, there are many different reasons why I chose to do the program, but probably the number one why I chose to do the program was that I was looking for the next step in my life, and I wasn't quite ready to jump into full-time working. but I still wanted to be able to give back to the community and do something positive and not just like laze around and do nothing. And this opportunity presented itself, and so I thought, why not? If I don't get it, then I can just start looking for jobs. But I did, and I'm so glad that I did, because it was amazing. But the reason why I chose to go to Belfast was the site offered a lot of work with youth and children, and that's something I really enjoy. But it's more than that. It's, you know, making those relationships and helping to build those communities, because a lot of the projects in which all of us worked, we would be trying to get the communities to come together to break down prejudice, because there's us versus them mentality, and you're trying to speak to the youth especially about, you know, they're the same, you know, you have more in common with them than you think, and, you know, generations will pass, and eventually, hopefully, there will be peace. So this was the church that I worked at, Dundonald Methodist. At Dundonald Methodist, I did a mother and toddlers group, a seniors group, youth fellowship, Sunday school. I was in the praise band. I did Beaver Scouts, Brownie Scouts. What else? Oh, and a women's group. And this is a picture inside the church of the congregation, as you can see. I also was placed at Dundonald Family and Community Initiative, or DFCI for short. Through DFCI, I did a few after-school programs and a group. They had a father-son group. They had a parent and kid group. And I really enjoyed working with all of them. So this is the outside of the church. Dundonald Methodist was located in Ballybean Estate. A housing estate over there is government-issued housing for low-income areas. So there was a lot of low-income families coming in to the church for various activities. And it was predominantly loyalist, but it was nevertheless still a really great community to be in and work with. So the church tried to take advantage of the fact that they were in a low-income housing estate, because a lot of the church members weren't from Ballybean, but they tried to reach out to them through the community programs that I got to participate in. These are some of the people at Dundonald Methodist that I got really close with. They really took me in as a family and welcomed me from day one, which was awesome. Let's see. So that is Andy and Ann and Clem. And when my family came, they took us up to the North Coast, where that is. And this is Cheryl and Simon. Simon has a little boy named Jacob, who I got to watch like constantly. I loved him. He loved me. One time they told him they were coming to pick me up after work, because I went over to their house a lot for dinner. And they go, "We're going to go pick up Beth." And he goes, "Beth, Beth, Beth, Beth," for like 10 minutes, the whole car ride there. So I thought it was cute. But, and then this is Jamie and Rebecca, and they were some of the people that just really meant a lot to me and helped me just have fun and enjoy. They shared their culture with me and their homes and their lives, and it was really rewarding. And here's a few more. That is Rebecca again, and that's Heather. Heather was in the praise band with me. That's Dave. Dave and his little boy Isaac was born while I was there, so it's really cute. Dave was also in the praise band. And then these are the Campbells. Okay, so these are the Beaver Scouts. So they were my favorite group of all time to work with, even though I'm not supposed to have a favorite. But every Thursday night, we would meet up. Imagine 30 boys ages 6 to 8, okay? Wild and crazy after they just come in from who knows what, in a tiny, tiny room, like not even a fourth of the size of this room. It was probably like the size of the stage. Like, it was crazy. But this was one of our outings. We went to that Scrabo Tower up in Dundonald. But we taught them all kinds of things, like that Beaver Scouts need to know. But we also tried to, since it was at the church, we tried to incorporate church stuff as well. And sometimes I just really wanted to, like, you know, but most of the time, I just love them to death. I mean, they were so great.
Mainly not church-related kids?
No, they were all from the estate, yeah. Yeah, they were all from Ballybean. So it was one way we got to... No, it wasn't just me. No, that would be too crazy. But they were good kids. They were a little wild, but they were good. So boys will be boys. I mean, you know, doesn't matter what country you're in. This is the Mother and Toddlers group, Sticky Fingers at Dundonald Methodist. Yeah, it was a time when the moms could come during the middle of the week and just sit and chat with other moms while their kids played. And I kind of like watched the kids along with a few other volunteers. And it was a great time for them to kind of get to know, some of the other moms in the area, because a lot of them don't get a chance to get out that much except to do like errands and things. So it was a great way for them to meet other people and build those relationships and make those connections to bond them, and so that they're not feeling like they're alone, because a lot of them were single moms, not all of them, and a lot of them were younger moms as well, but the kids were adorable. This was taken at Corrymeela. I don't know if you're familiar with Corrymeela or not, but it is a retreat center up on the north coast of Northern Ireland. That is involved with like peacemaking and stuff. And Mother Teresa actually visited there for a conference one weekend. But this was our women's group and Sticky Fingers retreat. So I didn't have any other pictures of the women's group, but except for this one, so that's why I put it up there. But the women's group, they were really great. It was full of moms and grandmas and everybody from the church or from Ballybean, like everyone came together, and it was a really tight-knit group, and they welcomed me with open arms, and it was really great getting to know them and kind of see their perspectives, because they would just open up to you and just talk and talk and talk about anything and everything, you know, what's going on in their lives, what's going on in the world around them, you know, politics, the latest thing, you know, fashion. We'd just have fun. It was great. They loved me as an American. They love Americans there. I mean, like, yeah, so it's each other they don't really like. Being an American was kind of like a novel thing. They would be like, oh, you're an American, let's talk to you. You're exciting, you're new. So, I mean, and they all loved my accent, but I didn't think I had much of one. This is Messy Church. The best way I can think to describe it is think of Vacation Bible School, but it's not a week long in the summer. It was once a month for a day. And these were some of the kids that I worked with, and I would do like a craft, a like little sciencey experiment, a video, some music, and different things. And it would be kind of a more informal, messy way to talk about God with some of these kids. And it was great because the kids that came to this typically didn't go to Sunday school in church on a Sunday morning. The tree, was one idea that I had about how God made all of us special and unique, and one of the ways that we can show that physically to a child that you're unique is your fingerprints. So I had them all do their thumbprints on this tree to show that while we're all unique and different, we're all together in God's children and a family. So halfway through the year, around November, DFCI lost funding, so I was then split between Dundonald Methodist and South Belfast Friendship House. South Belfast Friendship House is funded through Presbyterian Women of Ireland, and it's located in Sandy Row, which is also predominantly Loyalist. At Friendship House, I was involved in 2 after-school groups, a seniors group, and a mother and toddler group as well. I loved working there because I don't know why, but every day it was just like so excited to go to work there. It was a lot of fun, and you never knew what you were going to expect, like what the kids' day was going to be like, so you don't know what they're walking in with, but it was always never the same day twice, you know. As you can see, these are the crazy people that I worked with while I was at Friendship House. This picture right here, that was a staff meeting. And the fire truck is Fire Safety Day. We got to go sit in the fire truck, so that was pretty cool. And I'm playing dress up at the after school club. This is the seniors group, and I loved working with the senior group because they were a group of spunky old women who were like just so full of life and happy, and they were like amazing role models because they were friends and they all like were worshiped together, and they had that community, and they were willing to let anybody in with open arms, you know, and they just refused to be considered old, you know, like they kind of reminded me of the Golden Girls, if you've ever seen that show a little bit, but they were just a riot. They taught me how to crochet, and they taught me a lot about life, you know. This is the After Schools Club at Friendship House. It's for, you can't see that, but it's P1 to P3, which is like loosely connected to kindergarten to like 2nd grade, roughly. Their school system's a little bit different. But the kids would come after school, and we would do arts and crafts, we would play games, you know, whatever. I really loved working with these kids because if you got them working on an art project, they would sit down for 5 minutes, which is rare, and work on it, and that's when they would like open up and talk to you. And these are kids who are like have that tough exterior because they have to in order to survive because of where they live and where they grow up. But that was like a peek into them and see that they're just like any other kids, you know, and that was really amazing to me. Yeah, they wore uniforms all through primary school and secondary school. Every school over there. Every school.
So are the schools separate?
Yep. This is the P4 to P7, which would be like 3rd through 6th grade. They would come a different day, and we would do homework with them. And there was this one little boy named Bobby that I got to work with while I was there. And every day for homework club, I would go and sit with him. And he was just like, you know, I don't need your help. And I was like, I know, I'm just going to sit here and talk to you. He's like, okay, that's fine. And then one day he was like, can you help? So it was really cute, but he was one of the ones that I really connected with. And one day I was having a really bad day because the kids were going crazy. And he just walks up to me and was like, hi, how are you? And I was just like immediately like, so much better, you know, for some reason. He just made my day. But the homework club was really important because a lot of times these kids either couldn't sit still long enough to do their homework or didn't know how to do it, and there was no one at home to help them with it or willing to help them with it. So if they didn't come to homework club, it just didn't get done. And we were trying to show that, you know, school is a priority, and this was one of the ways that we did that. This is the toddler group at Friendship House. They were a great group because they were very diverse. We had different ethnicities, different people from different countries, people from different religions, and they just all came together like one big family, and they would talk to each other and open up to each other like they were best friends. And that was really amazing for me to see, because in a city where it seems so divided, in this one setting, it was like there was no barrier. And I just thought that was really cool to see. And of course, the kids are just adorable, I love that age. These are just some pictures of my many adventures while I was there. This is the Cliffs of Moher, and if anyone has seen Harry Potter 6, the cave that is in that movie was filmed right there. This is the Carrick-a-Reed rope bridge, which is a old fisherman's bridge. This is the Giant's Causeway, which is a natural like stone bridge thing. This is me and all the YAVs up at Scribo Hill. This is me climbed in one of the caves on Cave Hill. This is up on the north coast near Port Rush, or maybe it was Port Stewart. Somewhere, they were like right next to each other, so it was somewhere around there. This was when I went zorbing. If you don't know what that is, it's a sport that was invented in New Zealand, where you're in this giant like blow-up ball thing and you roll down a hill. It's really fun. So you're like rolling down the hill, and then there's sheep in the field right next to you. So, and then this was all of us on one of our YAV retreats. We were somewhere near Donegal, but I don't remember exactly where. We had stopped somewhere along the side of the road, somewhere on St. Patrick's Trail, but I don't remember exactly. But I have a map back there with St. Patrick's Trail if you want to look at that. And there's other things back there. Take whatever you want. And these are some of the specific sites in Belfast. That's City Hall. This is the Titanic Museum. If you didn't know, Titanic was built in Belfast. They were a big shipping yard a long time ago. And because they built big ships, they had these two giant cranes called Samson and Goliath. I don't know which one is which. I used to, but I don't remember. And this is Stormont Castle, and Stormont is where their parliament is housed. So there's a few political offices in there, but the actual place where they meet is on a different part of the grounds. So basically, I really enjoyed this year. It was a great time for me to learn and grow and experience new things. I really wanted to do something different and step out of my comfort zone, and I really did that here, and I wouldn't change it for anything. I mean, I made lifelong friends and had memorable, amazing experiences, and it's shaped who I am and who I'm going to be, and it continues to shape me. Yeah. Are there any questions?
I assume all the other YAVs were assigned on the same side of the police fence as you?
Yeah, all of us were, there was actually 4 of us that lived in the house, and then the other 4 lived in North Belfast. I lived in East Belfast, and we each had a different site, and we were all placed at a church and at a community organization, but it was all Protestant and Unionist.
How did they prepare you for this?
We had a week-long orientation before we flew out, and we were all there together, and they had speakers, they had seminars, they had all kinds of things, and they had books we had to read and training we had to go through, all kinds of stuff.
The books and training, were they primarily to sensitize you to the history of the war and the split and what you were going to be facing in terms of that element? Or was it more spiritual stuff? Or?
The books were more like what you're going to experience as a missionary for any of the sites that you would go to, and faith exploration and what it's like experiencing culture shock and those kinds of things. But when we actually got to our sites, we actually had a week of training as well. And there they went a little more in depth with the history and everything. And I still don't know everything, but they tried not to give us too much information so that we wouldn't go in like biased. And they said, if you want to learn about the culture and about the history, talk to the people. It's a great conversation starter, and it's a great way to learn about it.
And did you choose your spot out of all those that were listed on the
Mhm.
So if you wanted to go to Kenya, you could have gone there?
Yeah. You choose, and it's like you choose where you want to go. You preference like your top 3, I think it is, and then if they like you and there's a spot, then you go. Yeah. And I also sort of got to choose what church I was placed at, but they do it based on your gifts and your talents and their needs, so that you're evenly matched.
And the YAV program now helps to keep you all connected.
Yeah, they have an alumni program. I haven't been super involved with it, but I mean, I still am in conversation with these guys, like probably bi-weekly. We have a little Facebook group, and we occasionally post stuff on there. And we're all meeting up at Courtney's wedding. She's getting married, so. I have a little closing prayer.
You want to tell them what I told you about the bangers?
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I was warning, did Julie still here? She left. But Julie had asked Julie Dodson had asked at our table back there why they called them bangers. I don't know, ask Bethy. And so I said to Bethy, I said, if Julie's still here, just to give you a heads up, she's probably going to ask you why they call them bangers. And Julie said, Bethy said, oh. So I looked it up, and it's actually since World War II, that when things were so dire in the United Kingdom and Europe for getting real meat, real pork and stuff, they would supplement by having more water in their things, in the casings, and when they would heat up, they would go bang. Bangers from World War II on. Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's close in a word of prayer. O gracious and holy God, give us the diligence to seek you, the wisdom to perceive you, and the patience to wait for you. Grant us, O God, a mind to meditate on you, eyes to behold you, ears to listen for your word, a heart to love you, and a life to proclaim you. Through the power of the Spirit of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Thanks for coming. Feel free to check out the display back there and take stuff.